We already live.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You already pushed that button. You know better.
COVID's everywhere. COVID's everywhere, bro.
Yeah, you got an STD.
It's same thing. It might as well be.
See, you just go too far. I got COVID.
COVID is it's a socially transmitted disease. STD.
Yeah, you better clean it up because you know my wife. She find you. She gonna get fucked up.
Socially transmitted, bro. You stupid.
Hey, is it too late in the year to still say Happy New Year? Because it is the 23rd, but we ain't had a perspective all year, bro. So Happy New Year, brothers.
Happy New Year's, man.
I guess we could say
Happy New Year, yo.
Blessed.
Yeah,
we
man.
Hey,
how's everybody New Year been so far, man? Look, I know some of us done had COVID already.
Man.
You didn't have COVID. I didn't have COVID. Jacoby currently has an STD. Pete,
stop saying that stupid ass shit.
Hey, I haven't been outside enough then.
So you ain't got it.
I ain't had it.
Hey,
nope.
This Omicron is crucial, bro. I missed all the other ones. Delta, all of them.
Y'all running around too much. Y'all need to stay in the house some more,
bro. Omicron is crazy.
Hey, if a dude get COVID and his wife don't get COVID, does that mean he don't get none?
No, we getting it together. At some point,
but I'm saying, like, honestly, right? Like, if you get COVID and at some point your wife don't get COVID, does that mean you're not getting none?
No, he might be going. He might be doing a little something different.
They might sleep in different bedrooms. They might sleep in different bedrooms.
What they be teaching the class?
I mean, he ain't getting that. It's no swapping fluids at all, right?
No. He could be a carrier and not have to worry about it.
So he ain't even getting a kiss.
He could. Who's to say he can't?
Man, it lives in your saliva. So if you telling me,
what is you saying? What are you trying to get at?
No, I can't ask. It's a simple question, bro. Like,
if it lives in your saliva, you don't have to. You could be doing it without kissing.
So that means you ain't kissing your wife on a daily, right? Because it ain't like you wake up and like, oh, I know I got COVID. Let me stop kissing my family. Usually, you may not find out till a day or two later after you contracted it. So in that day or two, was you not kissing your wife?
Bro,
I don't know where you going with this shit.
It's still
y'all
down.
acting like this. Y'all acting like it's a hard ass question or something. Whatever. We gonna get away from that. We gonna get away.
I think the answer to the question is you dumb.
Answer this. Look, when I got it, the whole house got it. When you got it, the whole house got it. When Tab got it, the whole house got it. Paris been lucky he ain't got it yet. So your question is answered.
No, that's so. That's what I'm saying. So
keep it going.
So on the opposite of that, if let's say you got a partner, right, and he like, man, I had COVID, bro, and I didn't even know it, right? I just randomly had to take a test to go somewhere. I had COVID, I didn't even know it. And then you look around and you're like, bro, did your wife get COVID? And he like, nah, she ain't got it. Does that mean he ain't got nothing recently? Not even a kiss?
It's possible, but she might have super immunities.
He really should have been diving.
He had her booster. He
really should have been diving in that so he could have got some of them fluids. If she taking her elderberry and he not, he need to quit going to Jamba Juice.
Y'all retired.
I just asked. It's a question, right? Not to say there's any research to support or not support my theory. This is a social experiment that we're conducting on Braspective. You know what I'm saying?
I know why
people don't ask the right questions.
Paris didn't get it because he 5%er and he don't eat pork. We all eat pork.
He's saying
he don't eat shrimp because he say it's the pig of the sea.
He said
he don't eat none of the good shit. He don't eat shrimp, lobster, catfish, none of that, bro. None of that.
But he eat ass.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nobody said all that. Y'all worried about my diet. Worried about your diet.
It's okay if you do, bro. If you do, that's okay. That's part of you being an individual. Don't let them bully you. You can be an individual.
Bullied at all. I know where I stand. I'm good. I'm the one without COVID right now.
That goes into kind of our discussion today, right? So a lot of things, just over the years in general, I think as we were younger into our adult lives, I think typically one of the issues is that people who do things different than us, we call them weirdos. I mean, you think about people like Kanye, people call him a weirdo. Dennis Rodman, he's known as a weirdo. AB, sometimes we don't know if he's weirdo or he got some mental health, and that's Antonio Brown. Just people in general who seem to have a different personality. Andre 3000, Erica Badu, people, claim them to be weirdos. Do you guys feel that we as a people have an issue with people who typically do things outside the norm, or is it just that with that group of people, they're so kind of far away from what people view as normal that they get put in that weirdo box?
I think that was the conversation.
That was a way to answer the question.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but think about this when we was kids. Your mama and your daddy always say, hey, don't be a follower, be a leader, right? Mm-hmm. And a part of being a leader is being an individual, because you're not thinking like the sheep, or I would say sheep or the other people. You're kind of thinking on your own and doing your own thing. And I think a lot of times what happens is when we talking about, those are artists, so they're going to think different anyway because they're artists. But a lot of time when you're in a leadership position or whatever, or you take on that role, it's not orthodox. You don't think like a sheep. You're thinking out the box. You're trying to push the line. You're trying to break the glass ceiling. So a lot of times people are like, I don't see why Paris is trying to do that, because that ain't realistic. Or I don't see why Dewan doing that, because that's not realistic. But in actuality, that's you just being an individual as well as a leader. But a lot of people don't have those kind of traits. Like some people just want to just run a rat race. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to go and think out the box or try to break the glass ceiling.
I mean, I think, being an individual, I think that people that try to are in some type of structured setting, they get villainized for it, right? I mean, obviously, when you are a business owner, you are the head of a company or whatever the case may be, is you have a certain philosophy on what it is you feel that business should be structured like, how it should be ran, the personality traits and the qualities and professional qualities that you want a certain person to have. And I think what happens with that is that when you start to find that you can find unique people that can do the job with all types of different individual or personality traits that aren't the norm to what you want your company or your business structure to look like, sometimes those people get villainized. I mean, and I think we see it in entertainment. I think we see it in sports. I think we see it in regular business settings. When you start to become more of an individual, depending on who you are, sometimes you may run into problems, typically minorities, but it can also apply to other people as well. So being an individual, you got to be a strong person, because it is going to come with some level of negativity attached to it. Everybody doesn't accept that.
Yeah, it's like being an outsider too, though.
Yeah, I think it depends on who's giving the villainized label. Like who's you know what I'm saying, who's putting that label out there. So if we're talking about entertainers and sports individuals and what they do, I think you need to look at who's giving that title, because they may not be doing something that's villainized in their inner group, but to people who don't live their lifestyle, they may be the ones thinking like, oh my goodness, they're in the negative light. That's not how you should conduct yourself. So I think we should need to look at the individual who's giving that out. I think that makes a big difference.
It's tricky, right? Because I do think that, for me, I believe we are always better when people are able to be themselves, right? Like, as a whole, in general, when people are able to be themselves, however that is, as long as they're not doing anything illegal, right, then I think that people should be able to be themselves. I think the problem, though, is that so much of society doesn't always accept people when they're being themselves, that people try to conform to what we view as normal because they're afraid of being called weirdos, others are different. When the reality is, a lot of the times, the people who are the smartest people in the world and the creators of the world are people who think outside the box. And that allows us as people to grow because somebody came up with that thing that no one else was thinking about, right? And to a certain degree, they was viewed as a weird person or crazy or something when they were coming up with that idea, you know. And I think that's the issue, is that too much of what we do, you know, in kind of like mainstream culture, is we're only promoting certain things or certain ways or certain looks, when really the reality is the beauty is in us being different as people and being celebrated in that.
Right.
I think individuality. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was gonna say I think we talked about this a little bit before, not on Braspective, but just us as a group, because we read a lot of books and all that. But we was talking about Ta-Nehisi Coates' book in regards to, like, do we want our kids to really, do we want them to cut outside the line sometimes, or do we want to really let them just kind of venture out? But like, what does that really bring you? Does that bring you success in the American terms, or does success mean that you just do whatever you want to do? Success to me, you have to really do whatever the fuck you want to do. That's what success is, and money is, of course, an important part of that too. But if you can wake up and do whatever you want to do every day, and you can monetize that, that's important. So for a lot of people, they feel like if you're in a rat race and you're doing the same thing every day and all this, that, and the other, and you try to push the button, you ain't really like gonna be individual, because you like, I don't want to lose or compromise all of this stuff that I got. So if you work in your 9 to 5, you don't want to lose or compromise that, because what are you gonna do now? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's really gonna happen if I lose my 9 to 5 job? What do I do? I know it's a big push for everybody to kind of do like this whole independent thing, being your own boss and all that, but some people aren't built for that. That's why we do have people that are individuals that can. So, you know,
every employees. I mean, every boss needs an employee, and every employee needs a boss. I would say that, you know, just jumping right into it, for me, I think the reason that this topic captured me when we first started talking about if we were going to do this or not is that I personally don't feel Antonio Brown or Kanye West are crazy. And I know that it's easy when we're watching the media and how it's displayed, that the antics around it, everybody thinks that they're crazy. I don't think either one of them are crazy. I think
no, Tab. Kanye has a diagnosable mental illness. He's what we would deem crazy, although we don't use the terminology anymore. He's technically crazy.
I mean, no, bro. You listen to Kanye. He tell you himself he narcissistic. That's
crazy. Hey, that's a personality disorder. That's crazy.
This is my opinion on that, though, right? We had this conversation offline amongst us as a group, and I know that sometimes I think outside the box. Maybe I belong more in a box than everybody else does, so I side with that. But we talked about the Kanye West Drink Champs interview, and we talked about it. Y'all was like, that shit didn't make no sense. He sounded crazy for the most part.
I never said that, because
you didn't say that. You didn't say that, but
he has 3 conversations at one time. I know how he talks. You listen to all 4 conversations he having, and you'll get it.
No, but when I watched that interview, I really understood it. Like, I look at Kanye and AB, and I'll say this, right? That a lot of us are in the matrix, sort of what you were saying right now, right? And those dudes have either bought their way out of the matrix or have decided that they're no longer going to be plugged into it. And so the comments and the statements that they make isn't with any consideration of how is this going to look to other people, right? Like, I don't think that there's a large group of Americans that walk around outside and say, how is this going to look to other people? I just do not see that, right? So when I watch them, I'm watching people that are unfiltered. They're, like you said, they don't give a fuck. They're not worried about what an employer is going to say or a person is going to say. They truly have bought what is freedom to them, freedom of speech and everything, and they exercise that. And I just feel like that maybe not us, and I don't think us at all, actually, that the world is easier to deem them and generalize them as crazy than to be like, wow, you know what? There's a certain level of dues that have been paid, and these people are now free to act and say what they want. At the end of the day, when I go to work, Parrish goes to work, y'all go to work, y'all gonna think twice about what you say. I'm gonna think twice about what I say in a job setting, because there are parameters around how much of our freedom have we truly bought. We're looking at 2 individuals that don't fucking care about that.
But I think you just answered your own question.
Kanye said, how the fuck you say I don't bring anything to the table?
When I'm the
table.
That lets you know everything you need to know.
Yeah, but what I
think that's a narcissist. That boy got that's
but not even that.
So, but is being narcissistic crazy? Like there is a certain level of confidence that you have to wake up with when you're Puff Daddy, when you're Shug, when you're Dre, any of these people in order to do what it is you got to do. I don't think being a narcissistic makes you crazy. A narcissist makes you crazy.
You know what? I'll take away from the DS. I wasn't going to go there, but the fact
he in here.
In there, bro.
I think they have
They have
the knowledge and the self-awareness to what they're about to say. They know I'm gonna start something with this comment. Like I don't think they really think
can we not give them credit for that being calculated? Like they're not just saying things that they're not willing to back or that they're not passionate or opinionated about. Like, okay, we're saying being narcissist is crazy, right? But what about people that are introverted, they won't speak up or don't speak up for themselves or hold their like we could claim social disorders or mental disorder around a lot of different things. I don't want to put being a narcissist on the level of being crazy. There is a certain level of confidence that everyone should have in himself in order to get to this point. That's why some of these people are the best at what they do. We know Kanye is a musical genius. We consider AB to be one of the top wide receivers in the league. He's not the biggest body. He's not the strongest frame. So to wake up every day, get hit by Vontaze Burfict and whoever else you're getting hit by, and wake up and still go catch balls and do all of that and be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm the best person at what I do. I think that, yeah, that may seem a little narcissistic, but those that are that confident produce results that others do not, just like Floyd does. Just
we're not
like
talking about the results.
Are we calling 50 and 40 narcissists?
We're not talking about the results.
You're not talking about the results.
Hey, let me tell you what a narcissist is.
He got CTE though. He got CTE.
So a narcissist has a grandiose sense of self. That means they bigger than the world. That means they bigger than everybody, right? They have a self of importance that makes them feel like the world walks around them. They have a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success. They have a sense of power, brilliance, right? Where they feel like they're able to kind of like control and manipulate the world. And they kind of have like this belief of ideal beauty and love and things of that nature. Now, when it's all said and done, they believe that their thinking and who they are as a person is greater and better than everyone else to a point where it causes them issues and problems throughout their life. Now, confidence is one thing, right? Arrogance is another thing, and narcissism is another level. So what we're talking about, there's levels to this. I think there's levels to confidence. I think there's levels to arrogance. But I do think when you start getting into becoming a narcissist, you're unable. Also, we forgot the key point of it. Your inability to empathize with other people, you know? And so I think that there's aspects of, and I'm not even saying that Kanye, what he is or what he isn't. I love Kanye. Y'all know love Kanye. I think Kanye is a genius. Tab, you hit it on the head where you said there's a thin line that exists between somebody being crazy and somebody being a genius. And I do think most geniuses are crazy because their brains operate differently. They see the world differently. What I'm saying is one of the issues that we have is that in society, not everybody's given the same paths that Kanye's given, right?
No.
Not everybody who has narcissistic personality disorder or who may be bipolar is given the same path. We just say, oh, that person's weird or that person's different. But we don't even try to get to know them a little more to figure out how their difference is, how their brilliance or their difference is brilliant to that degree. Kind of like somebody who's autistic.
So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel straight up though that like when you look at this, like I still look at Kanye and AB as rational people that actually make their conversations support, not just them making it about me, right? So if we're just giving the narcissist title, do they have narcissistic traits? Absolutely. But a true narcissist in the form of the way you're defining it as, I don't find them to be those people because they still seem like giving people that create opportunities that aren't just solely surrounded around benefiting themselves or getting all the praise for it. So with that being included in who these people show up to be, how they get to defend themselves and articulate themselves when they get put on these stages, I don't feel truly that they're at that mental illness level of narcissism. Like I don't feel that way.
You don't, but they do.
I
think some of the things they do say and do too, they don't take no ownership in some of those things and those activities. So I think that's what also leads to, was that a little bit pushing more to the narcissistic side because you did have a role in that outcome and they're like, nah, that's not me.
So you know what?
Ego,
if that's where we're going in, I know an organization that might wear a certain color that some people in here might belong to that's all narcissists that got mental health.
No, I said the point of taking ownership.
I'm just
Tab, I
if
don't
you
even
don't go there. I know it. I've watched y'all get ready and prepare for parties. I know what it looks like. You got people out there holding a mirror and shit like that. So what are we really saying then? Because I know some people with some narcissistic traits too. Y'all taking any pills for anything?
That's arrogance, Tab. That's different.
Oh my God.
That's different. But Tab, I don't even think that AB. I don't know what AB is if he has a diagnosis or not. You know what I'm saying? That hasn't been publicly disclosed, so I can't say he does. Unlike Kanye,
he got CTE.
But do you think he's a narcissist, Dewan?
Hold on. What I can say, for sure, and what I can say is that he also has a lack of emotional intelligence, right? You know what I'm saying? I think the things that he does, they're very impulsive, and he's not able to manage his emotions. And I think that's what we need to talk about with him. He has low EQ, emotional intelligence. I don't know what his IQ is. You know, I don't know what his personality traits are. I mean, he has behavioral traits of a narcissist. He may have narcissism, he may not. But I think that in the realities of the world is he does some weird things that a lot of us don't understand. And is it due to sports or is it not? Kanye, I think Kanye is a brilliant mind, right? You know, beautiful mind. I say he got a beautiful mind. Whatever's going on in his brain, it's allowed him to be one of the most creative people in our history ever. You know what I'm saying? And so it's one of those things where we have benefited from Kanye's brain in so many ways, you know, whether it's the music industry, the fashion world, or things of that nature. But I do think that the average person who thinks like that and has the same intellect and brilliance, who doesn't have the money, is viewed differently. And that's my whole point in this.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. Like they can afford, when we say afford to do that, because they can afford it, because they rich. Kanye said, I moved into that house because I'm rich. What is all this money for? But it's one of those things we talked about, people thinking out of the box. And when we think about my man from Facebook, he got autism, right? So you know what I'm saying? So Zuckerberg got autism. So he one of the people like Bill Gates and them think different. Like, you know what I'm saying? All the people think different. Like we got some comments here like Bill Gates, Elon Musk. They think differently. So I don't know
Elon Musk got Asperger's too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that's the leadership quality, but they have something that we don't have, and it's a different kind of wavelength than majority of people that are in the rat race or the sheep or whatever you want to call them got. But they have something that's different than what we got. And different don't always mean bad. Like different just mean different.
And I don't think their difference is bad at all. Like you guys are saying, for them to do the things that they're doing, it takes some serious focus. Like they gotta be focused.
That discipline.
There's a discipline in there. Yeah,
that discipline is key with them dudes.
You got to think about, like, even though Antonio Brown does what he do, like the fact that he can get on the field and he reads routes and the way that their minds have to work in that moment and split second decision making, it says something is going on that's working well in their minds. That's why I say on the flip side, maybe a chemical imbalance. I don't know. That's not my field of study. But at the same time, something is also happening where I either am doing so well that I don't need to really filter or look at my surroundings, or I just am that kind of dude that, shoot, I'm going to just say it and however it unfolds, that's not how it unfolds. But then that's not how most rational people think. We fill the rooms. We look at who we're talking to and we tailor our conversation for that audience. They just don't do that very well.
That's also a part of being plugged into this, you know, and I guess I'm using like metaphors, but being plugged into this matrix. When I'm in a room and I'm in a setting and I'm thinking about who I'm around and my responses and if they need to be calculated or not, right? Like I'm going to consider all those things. In this room and in this space that we have, which is Braspective, I'm not obligated necessarily to hold my tongue as much as I am in a briefing room right before I'm about to go out on patrol and things like that, or in those settings. So I think that these are people that don't even consider those two things. It doesn't matter what room, what time, what place. They are unplugged and uncensored.
And is that an issue though?
I'm saying, but Tam,
that's something to think about, because you don't know who's in the room that you're talking to. And
well, but no, you're saying like, all right, who you're in the room and who you're talking to. But what if you don't give a fuck who the room is? You are the room. What if you consider yourself to be just as much?
Something to think about.
I'm the table.
No,
but
what I'm saying, but that doesn't mean that you're. But Paris, that doesn't mean you're narcissistic. For you to hold a certain level of stakeholder and value in that room, no, bro. If I'm in a room,
why he can't be narcissist? He said he's a narcissist.
I'm not. Y'all are saying he's a narcissist. I'm not saying that these.
He said he's a narcissist.
on what, a rack, on
He
a
said,
bar?
I don't negotiate with therapists. You got 2 therapists in here right now, and we said the boy's a narcissist.
Okay, but what y'all are saying is this though. At the end of the day, we talking about entertainment, and we know he don't write his own shit. So we're not gonna sit up here and act like everything that he says in his music is verbatim in bars.
Right?
Kanye does not write his own. Oh, you
time out.
He does not.
Time out, bro. You're going too far. You go too far. He may not write all of his shit,
but he knows what he's saying.
But he writes most. You don't think? Time out. You think Kanye let somebody write all his music for him, and he just rap what the dude say? You think Kanye do that?
I was, yes, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why.
Hold on, let me validate what you said
though.
Hold on, let me go real quick. You
made that cut.
You think Kanye let somebody write it down, rich ass kids that say at your mama house, go and get your what do you say?
Go and get that top ramen out.
So let me
let somebody say about his kids.
Let me counteract what you're saying. Did any of you guys catch Charlamagne's interview on the Breakfast Club about Kanye making those bars? Did anyone of y'all catch that? Let me tell y'all what he said. Charlamagne said flat out that it's ironic that Kanye West is in here taking pictures with these gangsters, and he was talking about all the dudes in the room with the game and stuff like that. But it's funny, if you listen to his interview on Drink Champs, he talks about how he hated backpack rappers, and he used that as part of his clout to reach where he's at. So therefore, even though we like Kanye, I'm looking at it for the fact that Charlamagne was saying that he'll switch up on the gangster rap just like he'll switch up on the backpack rappers. Therefore, I'm not going to take his bars and hold them as gospel, because if he didn't believe in the backpack rappers and we truly all fell in love with him for the stances that he took in those first albums, and he's like, oh, I didn't really care for them like that. That shit just got me put on. How do you want me to take him and validate him in the words that he's saying in these songs? Somebody writes for him. He's an entertainer. He's a genius. He's got a platform. And therefore, what sells, what goes, he's going to flow with that.
He made a gospel
album. Ain't nobody write Jesus Walks and Jesus Walks.
He made 2 gospel albums.
How do you know nobody wrote Jesus Walks when we got that? What Consequence and them was in the room with him the whole time when he was writing?
Bro, he wrote 2 gospel albums. Dear Lord, make it all right. All the stuff he just made is
that shit was tight though.
Fire.
That shit was tight. But every one of these albums that came out before then, wasn't nobody listening to them. You can't name the whole track list on all of them.
But we ain't talking just about Kanye, right? This ain't even about Kanye. This is
not about his lyrics. It's not about what he wrote. These people make conscious decisions to say or do what they're gonna do.
Yes, it is about what they wrote. Y'all in here using their lyrics to validate that they narcissism.
It
ain't about what they wrote.
I'm not saying he's narcissist because of his lyrics. I'm saying
what about his behavior?
And his behavior.
What about his behavior?
The way he just talks about people, that shows his narcissism.
This is why people get villainized, bro.
Yeah.
But you didn't hear me out. Villainizing him.
Yes, we are. We villainizing him, man.
We villainizing Kanye. He my favorite artist.
I'm just saying. And this is why we villainize him, especially in the black community, because when you got Madonna and Conor McGregor and Trump running around here doing the shit they doing, not everybody. They're not getting villainized the same way Kanye and Antonio Brown can for their tactics. They don't. They don't. In our community, they may get villainized in our community, but in a global setting, they do not.
Fuck Trump.
I don't know nothing about Madonna. I haven't followed her career, her work. I know she freaky.
I like it.
I know that. But I don't know anything else about
this lady got a whole career full of hits, and all you know is she freaky.
She like 60 now, like
a white Janet Jackson, bro. She ain't just freaky. She a good entertainer.
When was she a villain? Like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
When was she a villain?
When she first came out and was bending over and doing all that like aversion shit, she was villainized for that. If you look back in that time in music, her individuality got her villainized for that. But
villainized for being a freak? For a freak by who villainized her? Bro, that's like saying people villainize Janet Jackson.
On music at that
what was that one song that Janet Jackson made? Y'all remember that one song? Damn, what did that song that Janet Jackson did? Nasty.
Gonna make. Oh, you talking about her?
No, talking about the warmth of my mouth song. The warmth of my mouth song.
Hold on, how that one go, Chad?
I don't know how to go. Don't get me singing on here with your stupid ass.
I thought you were talking about the Busta Rhymes. Like,
he tried to set me up. He kinky, bro. He kinky.
Y'all know that Janet Jackson song is hella
place. anytime, any place.
Yeah.
That's
Janet,
not that
Janet
freaky, y'all. That's not that freaky.
Janet
I don't
nasty.
see how-
She got a couple nasty
In
songs.
1992, it was Tav.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
but I'm saying though, maybe when we get further off in life, right, with this YouTube era, these self-employed people and these individuals that show up and are monetizing their careers off being individuals, maybe the Kanyes and ABs won't be that crazy when we move into the future. So just like Madonna was villainized in 1992 for being sexually explicit because it was ahead of her time, how do we know that as the world keeps becoming more individualized through social media, that Kanye and AB will just be part of the social norm?
Who
Tab.
villainized
Social media
Madonna?
fucked
That
up their
lady
place.
rich.
There's two things that I'm
What you talking
missing,
about?
Tab, in your argument. One,
Social media fucked their place.
wait, one, Madonna's music, they're not talking about, like, that's her music. When we're talking about
It's a Janet
Kanye
Jackson
and
song.
AB,
Look it up.
when we're talking about Kanye and AB, we're talking about the words that they're saying, the things that they're doing. You're talking about somebody's music and entertainment in correspondence to how somebody is. Like, there's two different things going on.
But I'm a present a fact for what I'm saying. So we went out here calling Madonna crazy. Our people didn't think she was crazy when she started engaging in her relationship with Dennis Rodman. Like, we can go into the Dennis Rodman era of life too.
You're still talking about
wow, there she goes. That music now matches her crazy.
Yeah, but you're talking about her actions. When I'm hearing you
her
talk
actions
about
is
Kanye,
dating Dennis Rodman. That's not a song called "I'm in a relationship."
But Kanye and AB are coming out saying like this, like they're spewing exactly why we're saying like, oh, this is how you're acting, like
right. And because it's not within the parameters of social norms, they being villainized for it. I'm gonna stand on that shit. They're not crazy.
Tabs, let that man talk.
I mean, I have nowhere to say. If you don't think that they're crazy, I'm not saying that they're crazy. We were talking about how they're being narcissists and then how their actions and behaviors are making it seem like, hey, you're going on the other side of what very norm is. Then you brought in the argument of Madonna and her entertainment, and then she was pushing the sexuality. Well, in all music, that was going on. It just wasn't women doing it. So we're not saying her music. You know, her music was sexual, but they're like, oh, she's sexual because of her music. We're saying AB and Kanye are narcissists because of what they're saying and what they're saying.
They're
all
the dudes back in the 90s used to be on stage with their shirts off.
Let that don't stop. Let that don't stop. Let that don't stop.
Yeah, that's sexual, Tab.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all this then. Do y'all think that the media portrays us based on ethnicity on who's crazy or not for similar antics, right? And let me clarify what I'm saying. Like, let's go Conor McGregor versus Mayweather, right?
Bro, Conor McGregor ain't got shit on Mayweather, bro.
You're talking about sports. We're not talking about sports. We're talking about how they show up as personalities to promote their fights. Do they show up the same way? I would say
nobody ever said Mayweather was crazy.
But people look at him as a narcissist. Do you look at Conor as a narcissist?
Oh, Mayweather might be too.
But no, I'm saying though.
So let's say this, right? In all honesty, if you really want to be at the top of your game and you want to be like the head of like your industry, you may have to be a little narcissistic because you have to believe in yourself enough
to get to that level.
To go past places where other people haven't gone or where people tell you can't. In Mayweather's case, for him to grow up not knowing how to read, and for him to be small and be one of the greatest fighters ever, he had to know, he had to have some belief about himself that was greater than everybody else. He's one of the best ever.
So Mayweather's never coming on the show because you said he doesn't know how to read.
He can't read a Harry Potter book.
Mayweather's out.
He can't read a Harry Potter book. No. The thing about boxing is different. Boxing is kind of
Mayweather, I ain't got no issue with you. Look, I don't want no problem.
You're gonna get your ass whooped. Just wait till it comes to you. You're gonna definitely get your ass whooped. Just wait till it comes to you. And I'm gonna say, yeah, he said it. Yeah, he said it.
You ain't gonna help? Tab.
No, you know, because I'm always about that.
I'm
gonna help.
I was gonna say rap is like boxing. You have to sell something.
We gonna beat his ass. We not playing that game.
Mayweather is selling something. So Mayweather is selling "Come See Me Lose," which he's never done.
No,
rap is like I'm the best. It's been like that since LL and all them dudes. I'm the best.
I guess what I'm saying is that when I watch Conor,
Tab, if you don't let somebody else talk,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Brandon Marshall.
No, I don't want to be him. I don't want to be him.
Man,
let's get messy. I don't want to be.
We're gonna get messy now.
Go ahead. What was you gonna say?
I was just saying the Raph and Raph, because I said rap and Tav at the same time. So rap and boxing is similar because they're selling the product. Nobody gonna see Floyd if Floyd is docile like my man Errol Spence, right? True. Errol Spence don't say nothing. People like Errol might beat somebody up, but Errol they be talking that jazz. If he was talking that jazz, he would be that much bigger of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, it is what it is.
I mean, at the end of the
Muhammad
day,
Ali. Muhammad Ali.
So, and that's where I was gonna go, but I'm gonna wrap it up here. When we talk about people being villainized, back in the day, Muhammad Ali was being villainized for their actions that they were speaking on that actually went against all the norms. So that's when I think of being villainized in that mindset. What Kanye and AB do, I don't think that's being villainized because those are actions that's just them. I just need to be different from all y'all. So I think there's a difference. That's where I'm saying the villainization of these people are totally different. Looking at time, looking at who's doing it, I don't know. We didn't get into that, but that's what I'm saying is that it's the difference because of their actions, time period, and who's doing the villainization or giving them that label.
You know what? Tab defending the people being narcissists because he may be a narcissist. That's what it is.
I know, but you know what though? If there is, I am. But see though, I'm okay with that. I do believe that in order to get to where I'm at and to be who I am, I had to have a certain level of confidence and belief in myself to get here. I've heard a lot of no's to get to the yeses that I've gotten to, and I've had to do it on less degrees and education than all of you have had to do. So in order to wake up and be me and to accomplish the things that I've had to do, if we look at our resumes right now and just look at you guys' accomplishments, educational wise and everything else, in order to get to where I'm at to get the earning potential that I've had and done those things, those are requirements in my job. And somehow I've been able to bypass them. We could talk about fraternity opportunities and how I was able to bypass them. In order to get there, you got to have a certain level in your belief in yourself in order to get to where I'm at. So it is what it is. I'm never going to look at that and be like, yeah, I just wake up and, you know, I play the game and everything goes well and I get to where I'm at. I wake up every day and be like, go send me in the fucking jungle butt naked and I'm coming out with a fucking chinchilla on and not hungry at all. I have that Puff Daddy type of energy to myself. And that's how I get myself to where I'm at in life. And I think whether any in business endeavor that you guys look at that I have right now, my success shows that I walk into a room with not that same level of education and I fucking monetize it. So I'm always going to wake up and feel that way because that's what's got me to where I'm at. I don't know what y'all got to do to get to where y'all at. I know what it takes to be me.
You do.
We triggered you. You triggered.
Yeah, y'all steady.
Here's my table. I'm showing y'all my table.
And I look at the
table.
This is you.
Tab said, look at my table. Here's my table.
Hey, you're right. So when I watch somebody go say, "How I ain't bring nothing to the table," and I'm the table,
Tab,
I believe that.
Tab, relax. The thing
I'm saying, okay, so let me make this
you do know what we brought to the table. You was my
I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying I know what y'all brought to the table, but I also know that y'all have a list of accolades that come behind that and with that. And I respect what y'all do. I'm not trying to make it seem like we all get to where we at and we've done a good job at doing it. None of us are above each other. What I'm saying is that when I speak of individuality, thinking about it from myself and just in general, let's take all the entertainers and actors and all the famous people out of this shit. I'm talking about just working at a job, being somebody that you consider as an asset to a company, and you show up as an individual. And when your individuality goes too far, somebody chooses to put you back in place. We didn't necessarily go that far, but that shit happens in everyday work right now.
Yeah, the thing about that, Tav, is anybody should be, whatever job they're working, should be indispensable. So wherever you work at, whatever you do, you should be indispensable. So when they look at you and say, "Oh, damn, what's Dewan doing? Oh, he's indispensable. We can't mess with Dewan. He's great at his job. Oh, P, he's indispensable. We can't get rid of him. Jeff, Taff, etc." So when you bring that to the table, as well as what you have is something that I don't. You have this charisma that is unmatchable, right? You have this gift of gab that's unmatchable that a lot of people don't have. I don't even have that shit. But I got degrees and etc. that you said that balances off of that, which I do have a small bit of your charisma, but what's propelled you thus far is you have the idea of I can do whatever I want to do. Some people don't have that because they're sheep or they're whatever the term you want to use. but you have that leadership quality that some people don't. But I would say about the people that we were talking about in regards to individuality is they have that trait, they have that charisma, or they have that what I just used the term. What's the term? Indispensable. Being indispensable. Like AB is indispensable. There's not many receivers that are better than that guy. So he's indispensable. Kanye, he's the best producer rapper you can find. So they're indispensable. So some people have those talents, some people have the charisma, and some people have a mix of both of those. So that's how you get to those people that are just fucking outstanding, but they still narcissists. You want them too.
Oh, on that note, Tab is a narcissist.
Yeah.
And
we had an outcome.
We out.
Conversations.
Tab for narcissist. Tab for narcissist.
Man, stop.